Shuri.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're back with another writing session between us, Mr. Teresa and Mr. Adit. So we're going to move on to the part 2. Could you please tell me what you know first about the second task of the writing section?
In the second chance of the writing session, task 2.
Yes, it's task 2.
The task 2. In the task 2, I got case. It's like in debate, there is a motion situation. So I got emotions or situations like agree or disagree. I don't know the case. It's like the test for medicine to the animals. Am I right?
Yeah,
like
you
test for the
got that
medicine to
one.
the animals and pros or cons. In which side? So deliver the arguments. Like debate. Deliver the arguments, whether you pros and cons, and if you have any supporting data or supporting sources, put it that, and then make it relevant like that.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so actually it can be a bit different because here you're asked to discuss both point of view. So this one and the other one, right? Before you give your pros and cons. The answer will be slightly different if, for example, it changed to like to what extent do you agree or disagree? It will be slightly different, right? Yeah, you'll give only your stance instead of explaining two, like that. So yeah, aside from understanding the prompt, reading the question is also important and the task 2. Okay. I've seen several students that they are very used to the type of question, either discuss both views or agree or disagree, that when they were given another one, they forgot that they have to answer that, especially if like the question is like a smaller picture. It's more specific. We also have like two direct questions, for example, like this. Which side do you agree with? Like that. Or for example, disadvantage of animal testing, for example. So we can also have I'm missing an S here. So we can have two questions like this, two very different questions. Or you can even get like, what are the solution to this problem, for example. So combination of two. Sometimes people forget to do this, like that. So in dealing with
continue. Sorry.
In dealing with the task 2, it's always important to read the question. If it's task 1, it's about the graph. In task 2, how do you answer it depends on the question. Read carefully. Okay, what did you want to ask?
If it is in debate, Kak, kalau di debate kan ada dua jenis mosi. First one, the first one tuh kayak this house believe that, which is takes from the factual case, or this house would, which is a proposal case. Kalau proposal case, delivering the solutions also. But if it is in the real fact, like this house believe that, it's not delivering the solutions, but both of them stands in agree or disagree. I see that previously you mentioned about the solutions. Is it occurred for all the case or depends on?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last part?
Previously you said about the solution regarding to the case. So is it occurred for all the cases, or maybe every cases occurred in the task 2, or depends on certain cases, Kak? Because depends on certain case. Because in debate kan tidak bisa dia, it can occur for all the motions. What about in writing IELTS gitu? Apakah dia berlaku di semua gitu, di semua ide, in all the cases occurred like that?
It depends on the question, basically.
Ah,
So
similar.
yeah, depends on the question. It's you can say that it's very similar with the debate, the task two. But if it's debate, especially if you're asked about agree or disagree, so you have to take a stance. In debate, we have to have a very strong stance, right?
Ya, harus
Yeah.
strong ya.
Absolute, harus absolute. Here, it's not. It's more of an essay. So it's like have you ever entered an essay competition?
Essay competition never. Sorry.
Never. Okay. Well, basically for essay competition, it's up to you what you want to write. So even if you say like half and half, like for example, you can say for this one, although it is cruel, it is acknowledged to be cruel, it is still necessary. So you can acknowledge both of them like that. Just show where you are leaning more to.
Where you are living.
Actually, it's okay to have a very neutral stance, unlike saying like accommodating both of the stances. But from what I see from the cases of my students, and like unfortunately, especially in Indonesia, we are not it's not in our curriculum to argue about something, right? To like build an argument. So when I allowed them to be neutral, to take a neutral stance, it becomes basically nggak jelas. Jadi kayak it runs here and there.
Bias.
Yes, biased, very biased. At first, he's
Bias gitu.
maybe like the person said yes, and then by the end, he said no. So the flow is not good. That's why I suggest aim for like a bit leaning more to one side, so you're more focused.
Oh.
Like that.
It's like the students stand in one side, but then try to be contrast, but then eating their arguments before.
Yes,
Gitu kayak.
yes. You know that like when we present our argument, we do not rebut them by the end, right? We rebut it first. So we say the part that we don't agree with first before rebutting it. It will make our argument stronger like that. So that works. If you know that technique, that works. But many people, they just like the other side, the one that they don't agree with, it's considered as an afterthought. So kayak tambahan doang gitu. And that's the difficult part, because after that, after a very solid argument like about maybe why we should use animals, blah 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 blah, and then suddenly by the end of the paragraph they say, but it is also not good to use animals. It's like it really how to say, it makes people don't believe in your argument anymore.
Yeah, because at the beginning it stands in one point, and then after that, why you become gambling with the other stand itu jadinya.
Yeah,
Gambling
exactly.
jadinya.
And unfortunately, it's one of the assessment of task 2. So we're going to move on to see the descriptor again. You can see that it's quite similar. So coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range is still the same. But the difference here is task response, because we deal with a different type of question in task 2. Okay. Okay, to get at least a band 6 in task response, you see that presents a relevant position, right? You want to have a higher one, presents a clear position, so you shouldn't rebut your own argument. That is why it's easier to like focus on one side and just go on.
Better focus on one side, kayak.
Yeah, I think that's just better.
It's like RL, assertion, reasoning, evidence, link back, like that.
Yes.
Kayak.
Topic sentence, evidence.
Supporting details, evidence, and then link back.
Okay. many people like maybe they do that, they like add the additional information because they run out of ideas. Well, one technique to replace that is actually to use examples. So like take cases of examples, like usually like when we're teaching, sometimes we take like analogy, right? Imagine it's like this, like that. So you can also do that in class too.
Is it okay if we use the analogy, Kak? Because I'm afraid that it will be overlap with the topic or out of the context, Kak.
Okay, and well, in this case, not analogy, but you can take real world cases, or maybe like one technique that I like to use, because maybe not all people know about the topic. We can get like random topics that we don't really know about, and it's not because it's academic. We cannot provide, like for example, my experience with this case is not good. There was this, and this. It's very subjective, and you know that we cannot do that in academic writing, right? So instead of saying it with my, just put it in other people's mouth. Okay, I like to say it like that. So instead of saying my, say people experience this and this and this. Okay. Why can we do that? Whereas in like academic writing, in real academic writing, we cannot do that. In IELTS, they will not cross-check the truth. They will not cross-check like what you say there. They will only assess your argument, how strong it is supported, and other language aspects. So even if you lie about it, it's okay, as long as it's believable.
Even if we lie for
yes,
like
the example
80% of, but it's not 80% like that.
Yes, but I've read a tip. Try not to include exact numbers, because exact numbers make it questionable. So instead use most, majority, like that.
Most or
Majority,
majority.
yeah, most or majority. It can be from like 70 to 90, right? It's a wide range.
A wide range, most or majority. Right.
Most, majority, or like many people.
Many people.
Also be careful with this. Addresses all parts of the task. There are instances where the prompt provide like specific how to say, specific object to be analyzed, I suppose. For example, I've heard something like I've read something like tourism gives more disadvantages to the environment and to the local people than advantages. So there are two aspects that we have to discuss, both environment and local people. If you leave one of them behind, if you don't address them equally, you will not get a 7.
Addresses all parts of the task.
All parts of the task. Okay.
Wait, later I will ask about this when I see my writing, whether in which scope that I addresses all parts. Maybe I miss one or two parts, but later when I see my writing, I will ask about this then.
That's right. Let's understand the rule of the game first. And then this is quite obvious. Like if you want your essay to be good, of course you have to extend, right? It's still acceptable to have a tendency to overgeneralize, or the supporting ideas may lack focus. But of course, you would want to aim for a clearer argument. Like focus, I mean like they're straying away from the topic a bit, just a bit. Okay. If you possess all of this, you can get an 8.
Extended supported.
Okay, got it for task response?
I got it for the task response, but I save a question. Later, I will ask about that. In which stanza I address all the parts. In which part that is addresses all the all part. Which part like that. Later about. If we implement it, so I got the clearer illustrations about addresses all parts in the task because at the beginning I just remember that the motions provided or the case provided, so I just take this one. Whether I lost the parts like in the previously, I lost to deliver the data about India, so I missed a part. Then
yeah, let's check it
in
out
this case, in which case that I should break down the parts like that.
Okay. Now here we have the 3 other aspects: coherence, cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. And there's not much difference between these 3 and the one that in task 1. Still the same, like how clear you are, how connected your sentences are for coherence and cohesion. With additionally, this is why it's important to use paragraph and why your response here could not get a 6 because you didn't use paragraph.
Yeah.
Like that. So it's only a 5, unfortunately, for this.
That's okay, Kak. I'm happy that I know my mistakes, so I can improve that.
That's good. We learn from mistakes. Make as many mistakes as possible, but do not repeat them. So try out new mistakes.
Gold quotes.
Try out new mistakes. There are lots of mistakes that you can do. So do not repeat it.
Yeah. Good, Kak.
Okay.
Try a lot, got mistakes a lot, but not repeat the same mistakes.
So you will know more.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a clear overall progression. Of course, the paragraph should be clear. As we know, it's important to have a topic sentence. So the main idea, kalimat utama ini bahasa Indonesia, in each paragraph it has to be clear. Even if, for example, you want to combine, for example, you are asked about presenting advantages and you want to put them in one paragraph. Make sure that there's like the payung besar, so like the sentence that encompass both of the advantages. Make sure there's that. Do not just start with the first one and then like directly go to this next one. You have to have like maybe there are 2 advantages of this issue or like something. It will glue them together. Okay, and for grammatical range accuracy, it's still the same. Lexical resource also the same. So for lexical resource and grammatical range and accuracy, they see how wide your range of grammar and vocabulary is. So do not repeat words. Try to vary your words, even if like it's the central topic, for example, like scientists or something. But try not to make it weird when you change this. You change it with synonyms. So make it still natural. Don't be monotone, basically that. Same goes for grammatical range and accuracy. Do not just stick with the same pattern of like subject, verb, and subject, and verb, subject, and verb. Try to break it. Maybe you can introduce new information in front with a gerund, or maybe you can use like complex sentences, the compound sentences, like that. Or you can maybe break the sentence with like this case, for example, is another blah 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 blah. So putting it in like in the middle like that will break the pattern of just like subject and verb. There are lots of ways to do it. Okay. And of course, you have to be accurate in using it. This includes punctuation, word formation, and spelling for both vocabulary and grammar. Okay. Is it clear?
I want to ask regarding to the coherence cohesion, lexical resources, especially in the task 2, is it okay if we use the figurative language? It's like a phrasal verbs, or we just directly straight into the opinions, like this is the language, like daily language, not a figurative language, to make it variety like that.
We have to remember that in academic situation, we are
Academic,
recommended, yes, this is academic, so it's recommended not to use phrasal verbs, but there are several phrasal verbs that can be considered quite formal, right? So you can use those. But for example, like if we say, okay, using like grow up is a natural one, right? Grow up is a
Grow up,
phrasal
yeah.
verb, yeah. It's still acceptable. But if we use like slangs like make up with
Beat
him,
around the bush,
oh
make up
no,
with him.
cannot use it.
Oh, we cannot use that.
Yeah,
Idioms, nah, yeah.
you cannot use idioms. It's different with the speaking section. In speaking, you can use the idioms. Here is fully academic. Think like the formal, think of like you producing article for journals.
Oh, article for journals. Yeah.
It's the same language.
Fully academic, like article for journals.
With the exception of, we can say agree, I disagree here. That's the only exception. I agree, I believe, I propose, you can use that when you introduce your main argument. But for when you're explaining or supporting it, best not to use that.
Is it okay if we stand as I agree, I propose, because it might be subjective, or people mostly agree, like people mostly propose that. Which one is better?
Because this is our opinion that is being asked, so we can use I agree, I disagree. That's the unique thing. Yeah, that's okay.
Oh,
that's the unique thing about IELTS.
Because, but it is in the beginning, yeah, like topic sentence, or
only in the
topic
beginning,
sentence, yeah.
In the introductory paragraph or the
introductory
conclusion, or when we
conclusion.
when we're restating our argument and like the link back paragraph, or like the topic sentence of the paragraph, like that. So only like the when we're introducing that, okay, this is my stance, but when we're explaining or supporting them, use a neutral language. Do not use pronouns.
Natural language. Okay. Talking about rules of the games, I got a question left because I never took the IELTS test before. I would like to ask you, when you took your IELTS test in IELTS, because I see the videos that there is an IELTS test that directly writing that we have the pen, we write.
Oh, okay.
Then if it is incorrect, we just sub like that. Only once, not like that. Like once, then we continue.
Yes.
We continue. Or if we type it, no, not or if, or we type it, like we can erase.
I took the computer delivered one, so I type it down.
You type it. So is it okay if you erase it? Then you can see no, not so much correction like that, because in Typhoon it must be clean. Finally, a clean version.
When we're taking the computer delivered one, we can erase it. There's no option for like only crossing it once. That's for the paper base, the one that we have to write. There are two options.
So in the IELTS, you use the computer or paper based?
I took the computer one.
Okay. Because I planned it I want to take the test, and so I ask you about your experience then in writing.
Okay.
Or do you take the test? What about the speaking? Do you speak directly or
Yes,
on directly?
directly. Mhm.
Directly. Oh,
It's directly, and it's combined. So like both on my day, we had both the computer delivered and the paper based going on at the same time. Like that. The speaking session is combined. So like before me, no, after me, it was one of the participant from the paper base, but before me it was like the computer delivered one. So like computer delivered, and then me, which is also computer delivered, and then paper based, and then computer delivered again. So it's random based on when you book your test.
random based on when we book. So it's not your decision to choose computer or paper based, yeah?
Oh no. For that one, it's our decision. But for the speaking
or
section, yes.
For the speaking.
Because for the speaking section, there's only one examiner. At most, it's two examiner. So they will provide an option of time that you can choose from, like that. So you may have to wait after your like the listening, reading, and writing section ended. I have to wait for about an hour before I got the speaking session. My friend had to wait for 4 hours because at that time it was lots. There were lots of people participating, taking the test. So he had to take like not almost 4 hours, not exactly 4 hours, like 3.5, I think, because he was at the last.
I'm just waiting for that.
So it's separated. I've heard that in several countries too, it can be different. So maybe you take the test on Saturday and then you have to have the speaking session on Wednesday. It's possible like that. But I think in Bali, in our place, it's not like that. It's like directly.
One day, yeah.
Yeah, one day. You just have to wait like at most a few hours.
All right. When we wait for the few hours, then we can go outside, or we just stay in the IELTS office.
Oh, we can go outside.
Oh,
yes, as long as you don't miss your turn. They will call you. They will call you like about 2 or 3 number before your turn. They will check.
See.
You're almost up. You can go up and like wait there in the waiting room. So the waiting room is only about. Actually, there were only about 4 people that can wait in the waiting room. Like that. The examiner is a native speaker. Native speaker. In Indonesia, at least, they're all native speakers. Okay. I heard that in India they don't use native speakers, but I don't know whether that's true or not, because if it's based on the IELTS web, they say it's native speaker. You communicate and understand it. Like that. Okay, for this one, is it clear enough?
Clear cut. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back here. All right. So first obvious mistake is you hadn't written in paragraphs.
Yeah, not in paragraphs.
Like in paragraphs. Okay. Where can we define this?
However.
Okay, however.
However, the problem, however, different case.
We cannot determine what effect it will have on humans representing.
I mentioned the other hand twice.
Oh no. The first one is on the one hand. Second is
on the one hand, on the other hand, sorry.
So it's like comparing.
On the other.
It's okay.
Comparing.
Structure.
How many paragraphs that we can divide, Kak? Is that in the regulations that maybe maximum 2 or 3 paragraphs? No, yeah.
No. But
Because
minimum, I think it's 4 paragraphs. So it should be like, yes, first paragraph is introduction. And then we have the body paragraphs. This is like 2 or 4 paragraphs. Body paragraphs. Most people will stick with the 2-1 because writing 4 paragraphs will take a long time, right? And then last paragraph. So the definite one is the first paragraph is always introduction, last paragraph is always conclusion, which I think you're missing 2. You hadn't had a conclusion.
Meanwhile, yeah, I don't have any conclusion.
At the very least, even though it's there, it's not clear that it's the conclusion. Use like the introduction words like in conclusion or in sum to sum it up.
To be concluded like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
to conclude. Blah, blah, blah.
There is a signal that it is the conclusion.
Yes, basically, remember that when you're writing, you may already notice when we're writing something, there's no tone that the reader can hear. So you want to make it as clear as possible. That's the art of writing. Okay. So it's missing this part. Let's see how about the argument. Experiments using animals have long been the same subject of debate. And I just found out you wrote exactly 250 words, which is remarkable. you can write exactly like that. It's wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Experiments using animals, but same as the test 1, you can write more than that. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay.
Good one. This is a good
subject of debate.
Yes.
It's slightly now, yeah.
It's slightly idiomatic, but it's still formal.
No, it's not idiomatic. Jadi bahan perdebatan kan gitu in Indonesia.
Basically. But even in Indonesian, when we say bahan perdebatan, it's not a language that maybe like elementary school or like junior high school students will use. Bukan sesuatu yang umum dipakai untuk beginners kan. It shows our level of understanding. Gitu. Questioning its use account because it harms public health. From a point of view, many people think that making animals suffer. Something from him is more okay. As expected, your choice of words and your structure, your sentence structure are very good.
Thank you.
Okay, but you would want to avoid repeating suffer, suffer, suffer.
Oh,
okay, suffering and suffer is okay. Like we discussed before, making like how to say like different word formation is okay, but don't repeat it often. Even if like in regular writing, repeating it like this will make it seem redundant, even when you're introducing a new type of question. Sorry, a new type of argument. Like that. After the trial is over, even after being given anesthesia. Fail and cause damage. Okay, I think this should have a will, don't you think?
Animals will feel pain
because of the if clause.
Is it a possibility? Because I see that. Is that okay if I give you the different arguments? Ini kayak debate, saya kayak ingat-ingat debate jadi. Is it okay if we apa namanya? If I propose the different arguments maybe in the at last kalau memang argumen saya patah, that's okay. But I see that animals, if you say that animals will feel pain if the drugs are given veil, it's not will feel pain, but bukannya memang sakit kalau
Lebih ke ini
given
ya, exact
veil
condition
gitu.
ya.
Yeah, it's like exact condition, not possibility. My opinion, Kak. In my opinion lah. In my sotoy opinion lah, Kak.
Bisa sih, depends on it. Makanya, that's why I asked you, do we need a will here? Is it a possibility or not?
It's like an exact lah, not possibility. In my sotoy opinion.
Okay, well, fail and cause damage. Okay, it will be more effective without R here. Drugs given, fail, and cause damage to their bodies.
Oh, it's not passive, yeah. Drugs given, fail.
It's passive, but here we have to eliminate it, I think, to make it clear that it's not R given, fail. If not, takutnya ini kegabung. Because at first I thought it's like that, but then when I continue, it means like are given, fail, and cause damage to the bodies.
Drugs given, fail, and cause damage.
What effect it will have on humans with
if it is given, fail, and cause damage, the first one is past. The second one cause present. Is that okay, Kak? If we don't
because
don't use the relevant pattern.
No.
Because R is the present and cause damage and present. That's just my sotoy opinion lah, Kak.
Be careful here. Fail here is a verb, isn't it? Verbnya ini sama ini. This is a verb.
Fail and cause. I thought that given.
No, the given part here is part of the noun.
The drugs given, the drugs given, noun phrase, fail.
Yes.
Obat yang diberikan gagal. Oh iya, fail.
Ya kan? You wrote this.
Yeah, but I confused. Drugs given, fail. Kalau saya mikirnya diberikan gagal, gagalnya tuh malah jadi noun gitu saya pikir. Drugs given, fail. Saya kira failnya itu noun gitu.
Bukan.
Given-nya are given itu jadi verb gitu. Oke, Deka.
Oke. Kalau dia jadi verb nggak pakai n ya? Like the drugs give. Tuh.
Oh iya, drugs give. Drugs-nya plural, give-nya berarti nggak pakai s give.
Okay, continue here. We said we cannot determine but we will have on humans without observing on animals and okay. It feels like a repetition here.
Animals and humans.
Here, it will have on humans without observing it on animals and humans.
Animals and humans.
Here. Read from here, the effect. What effect it will have on humans without observing it on animals and humans. There's there's a feel of redundancy. I think like if you highlight it with like both, have on humans already both, still redundant.
Masalahnya adalah that we can determine efek apa yang terjadi kepada manusia tanpa mengobservasi without observing on both animals and human. Without observing it on the sample given. Langsung ke sample given itu nggak sih, Kak?
Sample given? Possible.
Sample.
But then it will be a bit ambiguous for the task response.
What kind of sample then kan gitu. What sample jadinya.
We can do it like this, for example. Maybe observing it on them apart from the animals too. Bisa kan?
Ya.
Jadi selain dari ini harus diujikan juga. Like that.
Gak kepikiran sih. Pengalaman bicara.
Ya, pengalaman.
Pengalaman bicara. Are you a debater kah, or just interest in writing? Because I believe that if someone's good in writing, this person must be have a good logical thinking lah in debating or talking or arguing something gitu. I thought that your English also very good.
Actually,
Fluent
I
loh.
I often have I often get nervous on stage. So like my speaking ability, like it will be reduced very greatly if I'm on stage. So the most that I do, I was a storyteller instead of a debater.
Storyteller.
Weird, isn't it? So I started writing for fiction, not from non-fiction. It was not only until I got in university that my friend, knowing that I like to write, and I often edited many of my friends like writing. So he recruited me to join his paper competition team, and from that moment, I got in like this one. I got in like this academic writing.
It's like a stereotype juga kak, like wah putih Cina pasti pinter kan gitu.
Not really, I don't know. He's both my high school friend and also my like major friend in university. So he knows me.
But you got the stereotype like that, right?
I know.
Must be lah.
Yeah, there's like the stereotype. It's all over the world, by the way. So don't worry. Yeah, I don't know why. Like if they see our eyes are like sipit,
Slanted,
we have
yeah,
small eyes,
pasti
and like
pinter.
the characteristic of even if like America or like in British, they also think like Asian people is smarter than like the other ones. There's this high standard of Asian people. It becomes like global joke. So any Asian all over the world, if we have the joke of like getting there's a joke like getting a 9 score out of 10 will get you a scolding from your parents if you're Asian, like that. And yeah, well, you know that you're also Asian, but like Indonesian Asian, right? And there are parents like that here in Asia. It's a common situation that many people experience. So yeah, I think it comes with that. Okay, we're straying away. Let's go focus here again.
Let's
In
go.
this case, it's okay. It's good to have a top. Are functional or at least predictive? Okay, which means that revisions regarding the first task we carry out when we review.
Dalam hari ini eksperimen pada binatang fungsional atau setidaknya prediktif. Regulation require various tests can be carried out on animals before being carried out. Those two things. Okay, can be benefits. The other thing can be less. Yeah, comparison and contrast.
Okay, you're
I put the bracket in order to make it clear. Agreed to what kind of case like that.
You don't have to use the bracket. You can include them in.
Is that okay?
That's okay. You were worried about making it too long, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. But it's okay to not use the bracket. Too many brackets not good too.
I see. Too many brackets not good.
The logic is like this. If you use brackets, it's like a shortcut of introducing something new, right? Which means you don't show your ability in connecting ideas.
Oh, too many brackets, not showing our ability.
Yes, it's a shortcut, right? Adding brackets, like it's just like you don't have to think about any words to connect them, which means it also You don't have to think about the structure on how to connect them. So it limits your showcase of ability. For example, if we change it like this.
Such as.
It shows that you know this, such as in cases where the drugs harm primates or mammals. Okay, be careful with your how you arrange your information here. It's a bit going here and there. And then this task is also a bit ambiguous. Which task you're referring to?
Oh yeah, there's only one, yeah.
And like previously,
The experimental test to the animals.
Previously, you mentioned that it was carried out on humans. So I would assume, especially because you say this test. So yeah, your argument here is a bit running a bit here and there. And this 4 sentences. Three sentences, sorry.
Overlap kayak?
Yeah, overlapping. That's why going here and there. One case you go here, one case you go there.
Like comparison and contrast, but just like swing like that. Not comparison strong, contrast strong. It's just like
it's
comparison ya udah. Tapi di sisi lain,
yes. Okay. So for this kind of question, usually I like it to be like this for the body paragraph. So I'd like it to be so maybe like paragraph 2, body paragraph 1. This will talk about the pros. And paragraph 3. Body paragraph 2. Talking about the cons. In case you want to explore more, maybe you were leaning more to the pros one. It can be like paragraph 3. Wait. So like pros 1, pros 2, paragraph 3, cons. You can also do this. So it's best to just like put them together at one. You already have the sense of that in the topic sentences here. You already separate them, right? With this.
However.
But then when you're explaining it further, you go here and there. So your argument became unclear.
Yeah, became unclear then.
Did you make a mind map before you read this?
It's not stand in one side, gitu ya. Did you what?
Did you make a mind map or like a brainstorming?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to be careful in arranging it again. So
I'd love to make a mind map. My question now. Paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4. Pros, cons. For instance, lah. In each paragraph, should we put the conclusion in each paragraph, or we do the conclusions at the end of the paragraphs? Should we put? No. My question in paragraph 2.
The link back one.
Link back in each paragraph. Like paragraph 2, for instance, we focus on the paragraph 2. Like we have topic sentence, supporting details. Is it possible that we use the conclusion, then we move to paragraph 3, topic sentence, supporting details, conclusion. Paragraph 4, topic sentence, supporting details, conclusion, then overall.
Yes.
Conclusion. Is it possible to put the conclusion in each paragraph?
It's possible. Okay, I'm going to show you. Let's move from here to a very good answer from one of the examiner too. I've shown you one before. So the question, wait.
So we can put the conclusions for each paragraph, or is it a must, Kak?
We can, not a must.
Okay, not must, yeah.
Basically, actually, when you're studying like how to write and the structure and composition and such, you know that we are asked to use to put a link back in each paragraph, right?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's why I asked
But
it.
the case is, I think if you can do that effectively and not making it redundant, then that's good. But if it's redundant, I suppose just like throw it away.
It's like a boomerang, yeah.
Yeah, like a boomerang. So yeah,
Oh.
it's a bit tricky there. Okay, I want to show you the response to this. This is a bit different. So it's more of a positive, more of agree or disagree part, right? We got it
Countries
first.
are becoming more similar because people are able to buy the same products. More similar, people are able to buy the same products. Become more and more similar. Countries similar, people buy the same products. Okay.
Okay, so there are two parts of this. This is what you have to address. First, it is becoming more and more similar because people are able to buy the same products anywhere in the world. So these are two parts that we have to address. Then we have to address whether it's a good or a bad one. Is it a good event or a bad event? Let's see the response. Here you go. It's a bit strong. Wait, I'm going to put it on full screen mode so that you can read it easier. Okay, you can read it first.
Oh, in the second paragraph, so unique. End up the paragraph with the question.
Yes, it's unique. And the question is effective. It's not leaving any argument. It's not an open question. It's a rhetoric.
Yeah, rhetorical question.
Rhetorical question. You can use rhetorical question, but not overwhelmingly so.
I strongly believe. Stand. So this writer only just mentioned his or her arguments in one stand. Yeah.
Yes, because the writer said, I strongly believe. So if you strongly believe in something, you can just argue for that. But if you say like, I mostly believe that this is judgmental, but there is also an advantage to that. So it's a mixture of both, right? You have to explain both of them like that. Depends on how you answer it. To be noted, there's no right and wrong answer. So whether you say you believe, whether you say you refuse, whether you say you kind of believe, but also a bit refuse, that's fine. As long as it's strong, as long as your answer is cohesive and it works out, any answer is acceptable.
But I thought that it must be it will be better if we stand in one side, because we can straight to our arguments, that not gambling like we have talked before. Yeah. Like you said also, or you mentioned before, that we stand on one side, that we can, and we will not gambling with our arguments then.
Yes, that's why actually, if you know what you're writing and topic, I think like the agree disagree question is the easiest one. You just have to argue for the one side. It gets complicated with the one that you've just had, the discussion, because you have to cover both of the sides and you cannot leave one behind. Both of them have to be fully extended. You cannot take sides.
I thought that in the beginning, before I took the writing test, and when I see this in the first time, the case in the first time, I thought that should it have to be objective or subjective? Subjective, so we have to stand in one side. Objective, we have to see in each stand in each side. So I'm afraid to be subjective for that. So that's why I gamble with my arguments then. So, but I know then that's happened at the beginning. Do we have to stand in one side or both side then? Let's try both side then.
Remember, we are asked about our opinion. Our opinion, right?
Our opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
But still, because what you had, okay, we're going back a bit to your writing here.
No.
What you were asked to is discussing both views. So you have to address both of them.
Yeah.
You have to address why it is necessary to use animals, why other people think it's cruel, before giving your opinion. That's the complexity of this. If it's only about agree or disagree, you can just choose one of the sides. But if it's discussing both views, you have to put the light on both of them. So you cannot say like, this is one of the mistakes that I found in one of my students, because she thought like discussing both views, as long as we discuss it, and that's fine. And she leaned heavily on the agree part. So even like, for example, she agreed with this one. She agreed with this one, and then she didn't agree with this one. So the argument for this one is correct. It's supporting exactly why it's necessary for humans to use animals for assessing medicines. But then when she moved on to the second one, she told in her answer why it is not cruel to do that. So it's actually still supporting the first one. And you shouldn't do that because you're asking about both views. You were asked to explain both views.
So we can't be subjective if we have the questions like both views. We can't.
Can to an extent.
Can.
An extent.
The extent. Back to the extent, yeah.
Yes, there's an extent. Like, you know, like explaining why it's good, why it's bad, and then you say like, for me, I believe it's we can overcome the bad ones, so it's mostly good. That's what happens with give your own opinion part. For example, okay, I'll give you my maybe a bit of my take on this. So let's skip the introduction. Intro, blah, blah, blah. And this paragraph 2, I will talk about, oh wait, intro, blah, 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 plus position. My position will be that it is necessary, for example. Okay, I'll start with, I'm using the debate technique, so I'm going to rebut what I've said before. So I will put the one that I don't agree with here. So it's about the why it's cruel. Yeah. My paragraph here will discuss about why it is cruel, because untested medicines may cause side effects or harmful for the animals, harmful and painful for the animals. Okay, so all of my argument about this will be put in paragraph 2. And then I move on to paragraph 3. Then I will say, however, okay, so I'll put a bit of a note here. So this is the cruel part. However, testing on humans are not it's not a viable option.
Viable.
Right. Then I'll proceed with the effects. Maybe I want to add another one, paragraph 4. Okay, this is a short one. Not testing them will be even worse. Right. So this is my not testing them will be even worse. We will not know the side effects and so on and so on and so on.
So you have the extent to argue in the side after the paragraph 2. In the paragraph 2, you say about the painful or the cruel part, but in paragraph 2 or 4, you mention the positive things. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not the
because I want to leave my reader on a positive light of the necessity.
Ending. Yeah.
Yes, this is about the flow. Okay, that's why when I do this, it's also possible to put these 2 in the first one and then the last one. But then when I move on to the conclusion, the reader will have to read again the first one, right? But here, if I use this structure, when I move to the conclusion, I can easily say, so that is why, something like this. That is why it might be a bit too informal, but basically that is why, although it seems cruel, we still have to do testing, to test medicines on animals. Like that. You may have a bit remark there. You can say, for example, like one possible way to overcome the cruelty is to have maybe a strict regulation, and so on and so on and so on. You can see that the flow is like, it flows good like that. So this already answered the question. We discussed why it's cruel, so we don't put them aside, right? We still cover it, and then we discuss the necessary ones. Why is it necessary even though it's cruel? That's our argument. These 2, making it 2 paragraphs, make it stronger, and it will be clearer that you're on the necessary part. And then this is the conclusion, as well as my opinion about it, like the clear opinion.
So you put the reader at the end to extend in or to stand in your opinion, yeah, to stand in your side, because you left because you put the paragraph 3 and 4. Go to pro, conclusion, pro, finishing the prose like that.
Yes, I like to highlight. I like to illustrate it like this. When we say something bad and then we say something good, usually especially for Indonesian, misalnya kita bilang, aku baru kecelakaan nih, tapi untungnya aku nggak kenapa-napa. People will focus on the nggak kenapa-napa kan.
Yeah.
But then, if I say, aku baru kecelakaan, aku nggak luka sih, tapi motorku hancur. Where will
Motorku
you focus?
hancur.
Right? Like that.
Ya.
That's a technique.
Simple, ngena tuh.
Mm-mm.
Analogi orang kecelakaan tuh.
Like that.
Ya.
I studied it from the untungnya itu sih.
Hmm.
When people say untungnya,
Untungnya.
they will like be a bit relieved and they focus on the relief.
Ya, untungnya. Untungnya nggak kenapa-kenapa. Oh ya, nggak kenapa-kenapa dah gitu.
By the way, it's also a trick used very often in the text in reading. So whenever you have like the yes, no, not given question or true, false, not given, be careful if after that they have however, like that. If they have however, it's same like this. They want you to focus on this. So,
however, after the however,
that is the actual view of the writer. Usually. Same like my technique here. This, okay. This is actually my writing technique that I tried out once in a while. So if you delete this, my topic sentence.
You send me this, right?
Yes, my topic sentence will become a new paragraph. It can be connected. That's one way to connect to test your connectivity between paragraphs. Take all the topic sentences, put them together. Does it become like a general view or summary? If it does, then your paragraphs are connected well.
So this is your personal technique lah, based on your experience.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would like to have a permission from you. May I adapt your personal strategies or personal technique? Sure. Okay, thank you. Because I see that klik gitu. Orang tuh kalau dapat sesuatu kan kalau udah masuk nih gitu. Misalnya gitu. Kalau udah tuh udah yes gitu.
Like that. So separate this. Don't worry about being subjective. Your argument should be subjective. Your language should not be. That's where you have
argument should be subjective, the language should not be.
If you want it to be more, this one to be more like formal, we can use, instead of using we, which is a personal pronoun, the side affix will not be known. Okay, use the passive voice. That is why, although it seems cruel, we can change in testing medicines, animal, or maybe you want to change a bit, animal testing. Added for like medicine for trying out. The effect medicine is that cannot be avoided. So leave the pronouns behind. Don't use we, don't use you. It's okay to use it, but if you want to have a higher score, it should be more academic.
My question now, Kak, when you took the IELTS test in computer test like this, did you just make sentence by sentence, or you break down the topic sentence like this first?
I broke down the topic sentence on a piece of paper. So you'll be given a piece of paper to write down.
Oh.
I wrote it there. And then
So you wrote the topic sentence you break down at there. Then after that you type it smoothly. Or you type erase.
of course I type erase. I'm
Which
still
one?
human.
Type erase. But you break down the ideas in paper like that, yeah?
Yeah, the ideas are on paper. And then the topic sentence actually, yeah. I'm a bit of a messy writer. So I don't usually write in order. That's weird. Do not follow it. If you, I don't know, like
Messi aja begini apalagi rapi.
Kenapa?
Messi aja begini apalagi rapi.
No. I mean like gini. Usually I will type the first sentences first like this. And then the topic sentence if it's by the end. I rarely use it by the end though. So biasanya begini. And then I will do which one I feel I have more ideas on. Gitu. Jadi udah ada kerangkanya dulu. For example, like I feel I have to focus more on this one before I forget. Gitu. So I just like write and then moving on here. That's why I don't have to worry about the connectivity between paragraph, even though I don't write in order, because I usually will write the first sentences first and it's already connected.
At least we have the scope in order to develop the sentence, yeah?
Yeah.
There's some supporting sentence.
Oh.
That's why I previously want to ask, but it's just answered directly before. Langsung terjawab. Lu mau nyanya itu sudah langsung terjawab tadi. I see.
Gitu.
Right.
Okay. Try it out first. By the way, I have to compliment your sentences and your choice of words because it's already good. Oh, detectable negative effect and such. You can improve it. You can improve it like using even more like, well, words like this, viable option.
Viable itu saya baru dengar tuh kata viable tuh. Oh, viable. Apa artinya?
Hopefully I don't misuse this. Benar nggak viable tuh? Viable is like reliable, I think.
Viable, reliable option.
Able to exist or succeed. Like
viable.
A working option basically ini maksudnya.
But viable is a good one. Like bahasa canggih, viable. Yeah.
But it's not something distant, right? You can still find it. Yeah.
Not distance, like not still relevant lah.
It's not like if you hear ubiquitous, gimana sih cara bacanya? Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous.
I know this from IELTS. Sorry, from TOEFL. I cannot forget it after that. It's all around you. I remember like it's like Dolby. I remember this meaning because of like one of the jokes is that ubiquitous is like Dolby. It's all around you.
Di mana? All around. Di mana-mana. Ubiquitous.
Yeah, di mana-mana. Everywhere.
Ubiquitous. Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous. I don't know how to read it well. But yeah, it's not like words like that you never heard. We rarely do that. But like viable and then necessity. And yeah, necessity is like a higher word. And then what else?
Ubiquitous baru saya lihat juga.
Ubiquitous. Yeah, I know that because of TOEFL.
TOEFL ubiquitous.
TOEFL itu menguji pengetahuan vocab. In IELTS, you don't have to worry much about your vocab. Maksudnya, there will not be any questions about like what is the meaning of this word. No, it's all about your understanding of English language. So you can stay in your.
Sorry. Maaf saya potong.
You can stay. No. You can stay in your comfortable zone if you have a good English, just like try to draw out. Like sometimes I see that people can reach like a 8 or 8.5 band score in reading, but the writing is very basic. So for those kind of people, what you can do is like you draw from your understanding of that reading. Gitu. Readingnya bisa, berarti udah tahu vocabulary-nya, but you never use it. That's why it doesn't come out. That's what you have to practice. Gitu jadi.
Tapi kalau dibandingin IELTS, must be more difficult lah than TOEFL.
Different kind. Different. Yeah. Believe it or not, my TOEFL score is, if we compare it, like ada yang ini kan tabel persamaan gitu. My TOEFL score is lower than my IELTS score. So I'm like more an IELTS type of person. If you like to memorize more, I think TOEFL is more fitting for you. Kalau TOEFL IBT, dia lebih ini sih. A bit more similar to IELTS, but the difference is it's even more academic than IELTS, I think. Because the techniques, not the topic. IELTS topic is very academic, but for like in TOEFL IBT yang pakai pakai komputer itu, yang diminta untuk UNIF, your skills of summarizing and paraphrasing will also be tested directly. Jadi mereka bakal kasih bacaan, terus kita harus summarize. You cannot repeat what you say. Jadi itu lebih benar-benar kayak kita pakai di kuliah rasanya sih, gitu. Kalau IELTS agak sedikit lebih general.
And some extent. Kembali ke extent lagi ya.
Ya, begitu. Okay. Practice again, like you said. Practice your brain muscle so that you get familiar with this.
Brain muscle.
It's all about the familiarity. Semakin familiar, semakin dapat.
Oke.
Oke, mangkok.
Ya, oke, mangkok. Biar berotot.
Okay. Any question?
To be honest, I enjoy to have sessions like this better than I watch football or basketball in life. 45 menit nonton bola itu yeah, it's a bit long that, but 1.5?
Yeah, 1.5 doesn't feel like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
it doesn't feel long.
It doesn't feel long. Sometimes I feel like I ran. I feel like Teresa, me. Because Teresa is me.
Tidak Teresa 1,5 jam.
Okay. Wait.